Today's episode of the Mac Daddy Seminar is brought to you by Rowdy Beard Club. Listen, if you're trying to be a Mac Daddy this holiday season, you gotta be fresh. And if you want to keep that no-shave November beard all season long, look no further. Rowdy Beard Club is a locally owned company that provides all natural balm and beard oils for conditioning and keeping your mane looking majestic this holiday season at an affordable price. Use the promo code ROWDY30 at checkout to save an extra 30% right now. Head over to rowdybeards.com to check out their products now.
Go make yourself a drink and I'll be down in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Well, they say they're from out of town or whatever, we don't give a fuck. The deal is done, now the cake been baked. They need to come on with the drama, whatever they gonna do.
What's going on, and welcome to the 6th episode of the Mac Daddy Seminar, and I am your host, Taylor Dunn, and it has only been a couple of days since the last episode. As I said in the last episode, my family and I will be going down to Disney World this next week, and I am not going to be able to record anything because I'm not bringing any of my recording equipment with me. So, we're going to just put this episode on a little bit early, and then we'll do another episode on schedule the following week. But yeah, man, not a whole lot's been going on. I've been on vacation for about a week now, just chilling out at the house, playing Red Dead Redemption. That's literally the only game I put in my PlayStation since I got it. Like, people are like, oh, let's play football, let's play a game of Fortnite. I don't wanna. Okay? I got trains to rob. I got more important stuff to do, man. I got a big-ass alligator I gotta go hunt in the swamp. You know? Just got more important stuff to do. I told my wife, too, when I came home, I wanted to bring my PlayStation because, the last couple of times that I've been here, we run out of stuff to do so early. And we spend so much money every time we come home because we're bored. And I get it, we're on vacation, everybody else is working. So, I can't call up some friend of mine and be like, hey, do you want to hang out on a Monday afternoon? Because they're at work. So we end up driving to Birmingham or driving to, God knows where, just to find something to do. Because, literally my hometown, there's nothing to do there. Especially in the wintertime. You want to go hunting? Okay. Wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and don't wake anybody in your house up and drive out to the middle of nowhere and get out with your rifle and go hunting. Which I don't have a rifle. I don't have a bow. So I can't do that. What else is there to do? You can go kayaking, but you're not doing that shit in November because it's 30 degrees when you wake up. So you're not doing that. It's fun in the summertime, but you can't do that every day. There's just, it's a small town in Alabama, Saturday, the weekends can be fun, but you got to go travel elsewhere to do something. So yeah, I've just been sitting around playing Red Dead, trying to keep myself entertained. I've been working on this this set that I'm supposed to do on the 14th back in Mississippi. Hopefully I'm able to do it because I've always got something going on with work, and I'm just not able, people don't understand too, because you're I have something I have to do for work. Oh, why don't you just ask off for it? And I'm like, no. It's not that simple. But, hopefully I'm able to do it. So, if you're listening to this and you'd like to come out and watch, the show is going to be December 14th at the Juke Joint in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. But yeah, I may not be able to go, which kind of sucks because I want to tell people, hey, come out and watch, but chances are I probably won't be able to do it. But I'm going to try. I've just been bored, sitting around, watching TV, playing the PlayStation, sleeping late. Oh my God. I haven't been sleeping this late since I was like 16 years old. Like, I slept until 11 a.m. the other day, and I was like, where did the entire day go? Because I'm so used to waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning that I literally, it was like 2 hours past and it was 1 p.m. And we hadn't even eaten anything yet. I'm like, what the hell are we doing? But yeah. There's just, I don't know. Like, one thing that is cool about being back in your hometown, at least for me, is I get a lot of nostalgia because I drive past so much stuff because barely anything has changed. And I just go past all of these things that, I like tie memories to from when I was, in high school and when I was a kid. Because I really didn't go anywhere when I was a kid. Like, I lived out in the country. And when I say out in the country, it's basically just, there's town, and then 20 miles away from that, there's nothing. I lived out there. And it sucked, man. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I grew up, and I was born in Montgomery, Alabama, and we moved to Wetumpka when I was in the 3rd grade. And we lived way out, like 30 miles from Wetumpka in this little bitty, I wouldn't even call it a town, but technically it's called Titus. Literally, there's a gas station out there. That's it. It's just houses, and then there's one gas station. But that gas station used to be lit. I remember going into that gas station and being able to rent VHS tapes. And that was after the year 2004. If that doesn't blow your goddamn mind. We rented that movie, Signs. It was like we had just moved out there. Now, I was born in Montgomery, and Montgomery is a lot more populated than where we moved to in Titus. Extremely more populated. And we moved out there, and I remember the very first movie that we ever rented from this gas station was Signs. That M. Night Shyamalan alien movie. Holy shit. I watched that movie with my parents. Pretty much hid my face in the couch cushions the entire movie. And then my mom said, I'll give you $100 if you'll walk down to the end of our driveway, touch the mailbox, and walk back at night. And I wouldn't do it. At 7 years old. Now, everybody knows when you're 7 years old, $100 is a big deal. But me, no. I was not walking down there to touch that mailbox for shit. We were always doing something dumb. Because we lived out in the middle of nowhere. It was boring, Like, my stepdad, my brother and sister's dad, he was pretty young. Him and my mom got married when I was, 3 years old. And, as I am getting older, it's really starting to get weird because he was 18 and my mom was 28. So it was pretty weird thinking about it, but I guess growing up it really wasn't that big of a deal. But to me, you know, he was more of like a friend than a father figure. Because, I mean, he was only 15 years older than me. It was like having a big brother running around. And we always just did dumb shit on the weekends. And it was fun. Like, we really had a good time because we had to entertain ourselves. Like I remember we used to, like, take lawnmower motors and put them on metal frames and build go-karts and shit, and we would ride those all weekend, or dirt bikes, or we would go hunting, and we would always be blowing some shit up, or it was literally like an episode of Jackass. Every weekend we were, we're gonna set this Tickle Me Elmo up on a stump and shoot it with a goddamn deer rifle. And then after we've shot it a couple times, we're gonna douse it in lighter fluid and burn it because we're bored. We did that all the time. Yeah, we drove up there past the property and I was just like, whoa, dude. Holy shit. And we had horses too. We had 2 horses because that was one of my stepdad's dumbass ideas. Like, hey, let's be fucking cowboys. And I was like, okay. And I remember going out there and having to feed those horses during the summer. And I'm scared shitless of horses, okay? Because of this. To anybody that's listening, if you've ever been kicked by a horse, you know why to be scared of them. I got kicked in the rib cage and I thought I was going to die. It didn't break any of my ribs, luckily, but holy shit, dude. It knocked the breath out of me, scared the hell out of me. And that was all the time, you know. The horses we had to get rid of when we moved back into the city, though. We moved to this apartment complex. And I loved living in the apartment complex. Like, and we did that when I was like 16. But yeah, I loved living there because, you know, I was around more people. And I made a lot more friends that way. Like, I remember when I was in high school, I used to... I've always been a ignorant bastard, right? And me and a couple of friends started this thing we called Ignorant Tuesday, which I had a job in high school, so... You know, anytime we could hang out, we would just call it Ignorant Tuesday. Because we started it on a Tuesday, but then it'd be like, oh, well, I have to work on Tuesday, so when do y'all want to hang out? Oh, let's hang out on Wednesday. We'd still call it Ignorant Tuesday, and people would be like, you know, we'd tell people, hey, we're going to do Ignorant Tuesday this weekend. And they'd be like, how are you going to do Ignorant Tuesday on a Saturday? And we would just look at them and go, exactly. And we would just go do ignorant shit, you know? Like, we would go to the mall and get in shopping carts and push them into the curb and go flying into the bushes and shit. We would do that. We would just go, I remember one time, we were really, okay, let me go ahead and make this disclaimer. We did some really stupid shit, you know? And now, like, if I saw a group of kids doing this type of stuff, I would be pretty pissed off, you know, but then I would, you know, have to remind myself, hey, I used to do that same ignorant shit too. But we used to go to the mall, and the mall in Montgomery that nobody goes to anymore because it's damn near a war zone, people shooting and people getting into fights and stuff like that. But it used to be really cool back when I was a kid and a few years while I was a teenager. And they have an ice skating rink, and we used to go out there and just like, there'd be like one dude out there, be one 35-year-old white guy. And he'd be so fancy, you know? He'd have like tights on and this really low-cut V-neck shirt. And he'd be out there sweating, ice skating. And he'd be pretty good. And we're like, you know, we'd throw some water out there on the ice and watch him slip. It's a wonder he didn't break anything. But God, we would be screaming laughing. Just wreaking havoc everywhere I go. I remember one time we went to a pet store. One of my buddies stole a hamster. Stole a hamster from a pet store. Yeah, we stopped hanging out with him for that because that's where we drew the line. You know, we'll cause injury to some guy out there on the ice skating, but, you know, whenever you steal a hamster from a pet store, that's when we draw the line. We can't do that anymore. And what's cool is a couple of weeks back, I was cleaning out one of my closets at home, and I found my camcorder that we used to record our Ignorant Tuesdays on. I used it for a lot of other things too, like when I was first started doing stand-up when I was 18, I used it to film it then because, you know, at the time, you know, I didn't have the iPhone or any phone that really took the place of a camcorder, so that's what I had. And it was wild too because I was just going through all these old videos and like seeing how we used to act and what I used to look like. Like if you want to trip yourself out, you can look at pictures of yourself from a couple years ago. But if you really want to like put your mind in a blender, look at video of yourself and listen to the way you used to talk. Because when I was like 17, 18 years old, my hair was really long. You know, a lot of people called it like the Justin Bieber look, but I don't even remember Justin Bieber looking like that. I looked more like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo than anybody, to be honest. I weighed like 110 pounds. I was still the same height that I am now. I'm 5'11". But, you know, getting a little bit older, getting married and having a kid, you know, you tend to get a little bit more used to eating snacks and taking naps and stuff versus just not eating all day. Because that's, you know, that's what I was doing when I was 17. Like, I would just not eat anything. And my metabolism was so high that when I would eat something, it would just burn up instantly. But yeah, we had so much fun. And I don't talk to any of those people anymore. And they all live pretty close to my hometown. But, you know, everybody's so tied up in their lives. And I get it, you know. At first, whenever, you know, I first kind of started coming back around my hometown for vacations and stuff like that, I used to wonder, like, how come nobody wants to hang out? And, you know, as time goes on, it's just everybody's tied up in their own lives now, you know? Everybody's got their own shit going on. And I get it, you know? But yeah. It's just crazy to think about all the ignorant ass stuff that we did. I went to go see my grandparents a couple of days ago, and God, it was so weird going to their house and being like, good God, they haven't changed anything. Like, they've changed a few things, like, they used to have this old ass TV. Like, it was like a 1970s TV that they used to, you know, it only had like 4 channels. And I remember my grandfather just like, he would buy like a DVD player for it and a DVD/VHS player and like all this shit. And he would always try and keep that TV up to date. And I eventually, when I was like 19 years old, I went over to visit him with my fiance at the time, who's now my wife. And I was like, why don't y'all get a new TV? I was like, a new TV? Oh, what's wrong with the one we got? I'm like, that thing's really outdated, Paul. That's what we call him, is Paul. And, yeah, he went out and he bought like some 4K ultra high definition television, and he still got it to this day, and it looks really good. You know, every time I go over there, I feel like I'm Geek Squad, because he wants me to figure out how to do something with his computer. Like, he wants me to show him how to print pictures off of his printer from his laptop. Now, his laptop was made in like 1980. It comes in a briefcase, pretty much. And he's got it hooked up to a printer that was, you know, produced in 1996. And he wants to know why he can't print pictures off from Facebook. And I got on this computer, and it literally took me like 90 minutes to get past the start menu, because that's how old the computer was. I was like, this computer is just old, you know? But it was really good seeing them. And then on the way back, oh my God. So, on the way back from my grandparents' house, we drove past this boat dock, and it was literally like a scene in Inception. Like, you ever have one of those moments wherever you drive past something and or not drive past something, but a smell or something, and you just, and you get all these like memories of something that happens there, or, you know, something like that. We drove past this boat dock, and I remembered when I was 16 years old, my mom allowed a friend of mine to live with us. And, you know, I'm not going to say his name, but, I mean, this dude was wild, right? Like, this guy, like, I was very sheltered, you know, as I was growing up. But this guy kind of took me out of my shell. And, like, we used to go act ignorant. This is before Ignorant Tuesdays. But it could have been ignorant year when me and him were hanging out. Because every time we went or did anything, we would always get in some type of trouble, but we would manage to get out of it. And the reason the boat dock is significant is when I was like 16 years old, I remember we went to a football game at the high school. And we were and that was the thing. You didn't go to the football game to actually watch the football game. You went just to like see what was going on afterwards. And you knew a bunch of people would be there. Anyway, you would go. And I remember this one time, people said, hey, there's going to be a fight over there in Tallahassee. Some of them Tallahassee boys have been talking shit. Because that's how everybody from Wetumpka talks. And, of course, since there's nothing to do, we were all like, okay, that sounds like fun. We all hop in this car, and we drive out to Tallahassee. Now, the guy we were riding with was notorious in our hometown for being a drug dealer. And when I say drug dealer, he was just selling weed. But, you know, of course, everybody in my hometown was, you know, all the older people were like Bible thumping, really Southern traditional values type of people. So if you sold weed, you were like Pablo Escobar. But, you know, anyway, so we were riding with him, and we ride out to Tallahassee, and we ride down to this boat dock, and it's like 9 p.m., and there's like 3 trucks out there, and it's all these like country-ass dudes, and I'm not talking about like stereotypical hillbilly look to him. Like, you could be a country ass dude in Alabama and be wearing like a polo shirt with some shorts and like some Sperry's on. You know, a couple of people that listen to this will know that look. But it's just, we're in like a goddamn caravan driving down this boat dock. Like, we're like 20 cars deep driving down to this boat dock. And we get there, and everybody is hopping out of their cars and taking their shirts off and shit. And everybody's trying to fight these like 3 dudes that apparently were talking shit on Facebook. So one guy comes forward, and he's like, "So where's so-and-so that's been talking shit?" And this guy walks up, and they get into a little scuffle. They fight for like a minute, right? And then they break up off of each other, and everybody's yelling and hollering at each other. All the other dudes have jumped up in this truck, but just one of the other guys was down there on the ground. I guess he was the realest of them all. And he is down there on the ground. He's wearing this like black tank top, and he's already gotten in one fight. Well, then this other dude walks forward and like hands him a Band-Aid, and he's like, "What's this for?" And he hits him. Probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen is everybody's like, "Oh!" You know, they get into a little scuffle. They fight for about 2 minutes or so. So this dude has fought 2 people, right? Well, then he's like, "I'll take on another one of y'all. Let's do this." Well, then this big motherfucker walks forward, right? He's probably 6'4", 300 pounds, big-ass country dude, some big hay-baling son of a bitch, right? And he's like, "Well, I like to fight. You want to fight me?" And he's like, "Yeah." Now, this other dude is like short, little gremlin-looking guy. He's probably like 5'6", 140 pounds. He's got like a shaggy hair and a little goatee and shit. But, you know, he's already fought 2 people, so he's like, "Yeah, I'll fight you." So him and this dude fight, and they're going at it for like 2 or 3 minutes. And eventually, this big dude beats that little guy till he's limp. Right? And everybody's like, "Stop, man, quit." You know, my little ass is standing there, you know, 103 pounds, you know, my shirt off, got my bird chest showing and shit. And I'm trying to look tough, you know, but I'm generally concerned for this little guy because this big dude just smashed his face into the concrete like 6 times. So he stands up, everybody's screaming, acting crazy and shit. And this little dude gets up off the ground and his nose is bleeding. And then somebody's like, "What's that smell?" The little dude had shit his pants. And everybody was just running around, screaming, swinging their shirts around in circles. Like it was a bunch of cavemen celebrating the creation of fire, the way these kids were acting. And it was hilarious, because apparently he hit that guy so hard that his bowels released and he shit on himself. So then, right as all of that chaos is going on, the guy that I talked about earlier that walked up with the Band-Aid and hit the dude, he just runs into the middle of everyone and says, "Y'all, the police are coming!" And everybody just scatters like roaches. Everybody's running and jumping in their cars. Now, as a reminder, I jumped in the car with the drug dealer dude. That's who I rode out there with. So I jump in the car with him. And as we're coming out of this, you know, this boat dock area, it's only one road to get in and out of there. And the police block the road. And it's like 4 or 5 police cars at first. And they block everybody getting out of there. A few cars managed to get out before they were able to, like, cut the road off. But they chased after them. So that ended up being a stupid idea. So we're sitting in this car. and this long line of stupid teenage kids, waiting to go through a police checkpoint. I'm sitting in the back seat and I'm like, hey man, is there anything in this car that is going to get us in trouble if these police decide to check the car? And he's just like, man, I'm not even going to lie to you. I got about 4 ounces of weed under the seat you're sitting in. Yeah. So I'm about to shit on myself now because I'm freaking out. I'm like, is that it? Is that all you have in here? And he's like, no, I got a scale and I got some baggies. And I'm just like, dude, are you serious? I reach under the seat and sure enough, there's a scale and I feel this big lumpy bag about the size of a damn loaf of bread. And I'm like, great, I'm about to get a damn felony tonight. Me at 16 years old. Now, the cars, some of, like, we all weren't in one big line. Some of them, they were like 2 lines because they were trying to break out of the line and get around, like, right when the police had started to, like, cut everyone off. So the cars were kind of staggered. My friend in the front passenger seat says, I got an idea. And I'm like, okay. He's like, hand me that shit under your seat. And he grabs it and throws it into a car that's right next to us. And it lands in one of these dudes' laps. I can just see the look on his face. And right as it lands in his lap, a cop who was turned around about to start questioning him turns back around and comes back to the car. And they pulled him out of the car and they started checking him, and they found this huge bag of weed sitting in this dude's lap. And then they opened the trunk, and this is all, like, after we've pulled forward a little bit, he threw everything into their car. He threw that scale, he threw this huge bag of weed, and then, they open the trunk of these people's car and they just have all types of shit in there. They all have guns on them and knives. So it's not like they weren't going to get in trouble to begin with. Okay, I know some of you people that might listen to this are probably judging me already, saying, oh, you got those kids in trouble. No. Them kids were getting a felony that night with or without my buddy throwing that shit into their car. So we pull forward and we start talking to the cops. I'm still in the back seat, nervous as all hell. And my buddy who just threw that shit in their car, it's like, yeah, we just came down here, officer, to hang out. We heard some people were down here hanging out, and, they just started fighting with one another, and we were trying to get out of here because we knew the cops would be coming soon, and we couldn't get out in time. And he starts joking with this cop, like just playing it all cool, like it was no big deal. They start talking about Snoop Dogg and shit. And I'm just sitting in the back like, are we really about to get out of this? Cops were like, well, y'all seem like a pretty good group of boys, so we're going to go ahead and let y'all go. And we drove off, and they took me back home, and I never hung out with those kids again. Because I knew the next time I do anything with them, my ass is going to jail. That was such a crazy ass thing. There's so many things close to that happened, but I just remember that passing by that boat dock, man. Jesus Christ. The things you think about whenever you go back to your hometown and the place that you grew up, it's unreal to me. Oh, man. Anyway, I think that's about it for today. See, do we have any questions from social media? No, there aren't any questions. And Meme of the Week, I've had a couple of submissions for Meme of the Week. And look, if the meme isn't like a real funny one, I'm not going to talk about it. Like this week, I really don't have one because nothing's really stuck out to me. Like a couple of people have sent me that Pikachu meme or the Dexter, like saying shit in his accent meme. It's just okay. It's not really that funny. You know? The neck guy, that was hilarious. You know? But if I've seen it too much, then it's not going to make it for Meme of the Week, y'all. I'm sorry. But, hey, maybe, this upcoming week, this is next week's episode that would have been posted on Monday. However, I had to record it a couple of days earlier because me and my family's going to be in Disney World. But once again, I appreciate you guys listening to the Mac Daddy Seminar. I appreciate all the support, and episode 7 will be out the week, probably December 10th or 11th. So I appreciate everybody listening, and I will see you guys in a week. Today's episode of the Mac Daddy Seminar is brought to you by Rowdy Beard Club. Listen, if you're trying to be a Mac Daddy this holiday season, you got to be fresh. And if you want to keep that no-shave November beard all season long, look no further. Rowdy Beard Club is a locally owned company that provides all natural balm and beard oils for conditioning and keeping your mane looking majestic this holiday season at an affordable price. Use the promo code ROWDY30 at checkout to save an extra 30% right now. Head over to rowdybeards.com to check out their products now.